I'm Dr. Pam Powell, the P Factor, aka the Hope Doctor. And my book, The P Factor, allows people to experience the thrill of victory rather than the agony of defeat. Why? Because of the 7 principles of the P Factor that teaches you how to win no matter what. The reason that the P Factor came into existence, number one, I give God the glory for that because I went through breast cancer. I was given a 3-month death sentence. And during that 3-month death sentence, God allowed me to live. So I'm a survivor, and once I came out, I wanted to give a living testament as to what principles allowed me to get through. In fact, those principles will allow anyone to get through any situation. Like I tell people, I've been broke, busted, and disgusted. I robbed Peter to pay Paul. They both ran out of money. Whatever your situation might be, whether it's a health condition, whether it's depression, oppression, whatever, if you follow those principles of the P Factor that God inspired me with the writing of that book after I survived cancer, it will take you through anything. And that's why I'm here, because I'm experiencing the thrill of victory rather than the agony of defeat. And there's 7 principles, and you got to follow every one of them in order to win. One of the principles that's very important is, number one, you must be positive, because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Your attitude determines your altitude. So stay away from negative people. In fact, when I'm around negative folk, I start sneezing and say, excuse me, but I'm allergic to negativity. I need to be positive in order to get where I need to be in life. So the positive attitude is the right example of getting to the next level. And that's one of the key ingredients of the P Factor. The Pam Powell Show is my radio show. The P Factor Hour is my television show. I've been on the Black Family Channel. That was Willie Gary's network. I've been on College Television Network. I've been on Time Warner Cable, all in Los Angeles, California. And the great thing about that, all of that derived from the P Factor, including my motivational speaking, which Les Brown endorsed my book. He was my mentor. I used to work with Les. He calls me his alter ego. He talks about how powerful my message of hope is the P Factor. So a book can take you to every facet of life. It took me from that, and now I'm working on another television deal. In fact, I'm going to have a play about the P Factor. I got a clothing line coming, a perfume line. All of those things are branded through the book. The clothing line is kind of like what I'm wearing now. Everybody wants to know why I wear purple. Well, purple represents passion. That's P Factor number 2. In order to win in life, you have to be passionate. So purple represents royalty. It represents passion. And that's one thing that I'm doing, is creating a clothing line with purple in it so that people will understand what your clothing does to minister to people so that they can have hope. And what does this purple do? It gives people hope, and it inspires them that they can reach their goals and dreams. I've been to London, England. I've been to Paris, France. I've spoken in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome, 30,000 people. I've been to New Orleans Dome. I've spoken to crowds of at least 50,000 people. I speak at churches and corporations. I speak all over the country and the world, and it's all because I wrote a book. I tied my message to the book. The book gives hope, and people need hope. So I'm the Hope Doctor, and I inject folk with the dose of hope. Well, the book derived from that experience, but to be perfectly honest, I've been speaking since I was a little girl. I used to speak for corporations, businesses, churches, but the book caused me to get on the motivational speaking circuit, because once I wrote that book, people wanted to know more. They started calling me into corporations and businesses and churches. In fact, I got 3 engagements this month at churches who want me to come in and inject the P Factor. So it has evolved my career into television, where 19 million people have heard that message. The Pam Powell Show is a show that allows people to be interviewed about the things that they've gone through in life and how they applied the P Factor principles. And with doing that, it allowed them to experience the thrill of victory rather than the agony of defeat. The P Factor Hour is kind of like an infomercial with my book, where I show different principles of the book, and people testify as to the principle of passion or the principle of positivity. And then from that, they understand why they need to have the P Factor in their library. Go to www.pampowell.org. And what we do is they send in the necessary information, and we check to make sure that their story would be so passionate that people would certainly want to hear. In fact, I'm getting ready to launch a internet television show. I'm not launching it, but I've been asked to be part of another new internet television show that's coming soon. And it's going to be the Pam Powell Show. But it is going to be through a major network, and we're in negotiations right now. The main message that they can get from my book, it's very simple. You said that you didn't need to hear all the 7 ingredients, but you know what? I don't mind sharing them because people don't understand the principles. And what I do, I teach the principles of getting there. See, as my friend Les Brown would always say, if you can look up, you know, you can get up, you can look up, then you can hook up, God's going to take you up. Well, my whole principle is you got to be positive, you got to be passionate, you got to be persistent, you got to be patient, by all means prayerful, and you'll get the power that would allow you to be prosperous. But if you don't follow every one of those 7 principles, you're never going to get where you want to go. And one principle I talk about is being persistent. A lot of times we have issues in our life and problems and frustrations, but what we do is continue to keep going if we're persistent. Most people give up and quit. That's why suicides and depressions and things like that are on an all-time high in the world today, because people can't get to where they want to go. Well, look at President Obama. Look at all that he went through. President Obama went through probably the worst ridicule. I mean, look at Job. We have an experience right there. If people read their Bible, Job lost everything he had. All his friends turned their back on him. He was sick. All his children died. But he remained positive, and he remained persistent, believing that things were going to change. And that's how you get through anything. I've been through a whole lot in my life. As I mentioned, I lost my father when I was very, very young. He was murdered. He went to get a corn dog, never came back home. But I remained positive that my life would still be a winning life. And I've traveled the world. I've been on private jets. I've lived in mansions and everything all around the world, because I believe in the principles of the P factor. And that's why people need to tune into that. They need to read the book. They need to get on my life coaching success network. All they got to do is go to my website or call me at 407-376-9655 and set it up with one of my teammates, and we'll get them on, because people love doing life coaching with me. We do it by conference call, one-on-one, or we meet people face to face. Yes, I do. That's one of the keys, because I believe that success is only measured by what you do for others, not by what you do for yourself. And today, with what you did for helping these authors expose themselves, and even get to connect with other authors and even give other authors information about the success of others, that's pushing people up. And when you push others up, you'll go up. You've inspired me, and I want to thank you again for this awesome event. Keep up the great work, and I see so many great things happening. Some people say if you put it in a book, African Americans don't read it. Well, I challenge them that they need to connect up with you. They need to connect up to the urban book authors and writers of America, because we all need to leave a legacy. Even the Bible tells us we should leave a legacy for generations and generations to come. Without a book, you have no legacy. When it's over, it's over. When they go by my grave, they're going to say, what did she do? She wrote a book called The P Factor, and it has changed lives all around the world. You can get that book again at www.pampowell.org.